afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And good afternoon, viewers watching us from wherever you're watching us, live on NTV. This is the University Interface Debate brought to you by the Center for Constitutional Governance. I have the pleasure of hosting the young ladies and gentlemen from the various universities in this country this afternoon for a debate. The debates that have been running over the last possibly 4 years across this country. I've been with Center for Constitutional Governance in Gulu. I've been with them in Kabale. I was in Mbarara. I know they've been to so many other places. They've been in Kampala as well. And this is a start of a series of them. This afternoon with us, we have a set of panelists representing various universities going to engage in a debate. The topic for this afternoon is qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people. Which way Uganda? We'll start with the national anthems. National anthem. Do we have anyone that is going to sing the East African anthem? Yes. Okay. We'll start with the national anthem, the East African anthem, and then we'll usher in our debaters onto the stage today. I'll invite the gentleman that is leading us in the national anthems to come.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frederick Jengo, student from Neje University. Can I request the August House to raise on your feet so that we can sing the national anthems? We are beginning with the national anthem. Oh, Uganda, oh, the poor, they will lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we always stand. Let's sing the East African anthem. Hey Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tukuteshi kuishi kwa amani, tuivinje na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, jumuiya yetu. For God and my country, you may take your seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Peter Chivazo. I have the pleasure to moderate this afternoon's debate. The moment in the sun is for the young ladies and gentlemen that are representing the various universities. I'll ask you to put your hands together for the panelists as they walk to the podium. First to walk down is representing Bishop Stuart University, Mr. Munzira Crispus. Busitama University, Joy Mukebezi. Busoga University, Charles Walyaula. Islamic University in Uganda, Mohammed Abubekar. Kabale University, Sylvia Komugisha. Mountains of the Moon, Aliganyira Habat. Chambogo University, John Emukoki. Mutesa One Royal University, Kasim Azabo. Ladies and gentlemen, I have also the pleasure to introduce the judges for the debate this afternoon. With us in the House, I'll just ask them to rise a bit and then take their seats. Patrick Tumuine, Mr. Patrick Tumwine is the head of the Advocacy and Research and Information at HURINET, Human Rights Network for Uganda. Welcome. Alongside Patrick, we have Dr. Sarah Sally. She's a senior lecturer at Makerere University College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Welcome, Sarah. And the other third party, depending on when you meet him, on an evening, he can be a bishop. He's Mr. Arina Itwe Rugendo. One of the, I'm finding the appropriate one without wanting to call him Mr. Haina. No, Mr. Arina Itwe Rugendo is one of the proprietors of the Red Pepper, and he's a judge here today. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We will roll into the mechanics of the debate tonight. Each of the members seated up here will have 3 minutes seated up there uninterrupted to make their presentation. The 3 minutes they will speak either off cuff or off their notes. They will take the podium here. After those 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, they will have another up to 7 minutes of interaction with you. You may interrupt them or you may ask a question by flashing the card of your university wherever you're seated. When you flash the card of your university, the moderator will call on your university, not your individual, and say, please, the gentlemen and ladies at the front, you may raise your hand and we'll call upon you to ask the question. The ones at the table, you will use the microphones in front of you to ask a question or raise your concern. The ones seated up there, you will have to walk down to the podium and put your question or comment to the debater. We will go in alphabetical order. The choice is alphabetical order, and therefore we'll start with Busitema University, then go to Busoga University, then Islamic University in Uganda, then Kabale University, then Chambogo University, then Mountains of the Moon, and we'll do a wrap-up with Mutesa One Royal University. After the debaters have finished doing their presentation, we'll have an interaction with the audience. After the interaction with the audience, we will then hand over to the judges to come back to us. We'll suppose that during the interaction with the audience, the judges will do their comparative notes and engage each other and come up with their notes. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the representative of Bishop Stuart University, who is Crispus Munzira. Crispus, you have the podium today. Qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people. Which way, Uganda?
As Aria said, I'm Munzira Crispus, Bishop Stuart University, Bachelor of Science Education, Physics Mathematics, from Kazo, Chiruhura District. That is good. People may think otherwise, but then that is not rare. Yes. So I'm happy because I'm now talking about a fascinating topic, and that is qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people. Which way, Uganda? And through my words, I beseech you all to be very keen, because you're going to pick answers to such guiding questions that are already up there. Are the youth ably represented in today's governing structures? Definitely. In the absence of free and fair elections, are the people represented? Do we have value for money for the cost of democracy? I'm sure they're going to pick the answers. Qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people. Which way, Uganda? People have gotten a proverb they love so much. It is actually an aphorism of wisdom, and they've come to say that 2 heads are better than 1. But I've always moved extra miles to let them know that it also depends on which type of heads. Therefore, I drive my conclusion to say that Uganda needs qualitative representation of the people, because I'm very much aware that it is not a guarantee that the majority group should be the right people. No, still you can stand as an independent citizen when you're actually paving a right direction. So, in other words, Uganda needs qualitative representation. That is exactly the way Uganda is taking. Yeah. Are the youth every represented? Who is a youth? We have got different documents talking about the youth, and that is where UNICEF also puts its stake, the Uganda Constitution, the National Youth Policy, and definitely, all in all, what cuts across is a youth is that very person between childhood and adulthood. However much different countries have got that one in a different way, but I'm happy this time we're using Uganda as a case study. That is the thing. So, in other words, to me, as Chris Munzira from Bishop Stewart University, I strongly say the youth are ably represented. Because now, when I support qualitative representation of the people, then I consider the ratio of the youth, the percentage actually, which is around 78. This is the statistics house. Hopefully I'm giving the right information. Yeah, around 78, 77 there. And why? If you look at the parliament, you actually can gauge the number of the youth we have there. And that one means that there is qualitative representation. People are really representing us. To represent means to speak on behalf of. In other words, climb a tree, harvest forests. After harvesting forests, then make sure you bring actually what you have harvested to some other people behind. That is to represent. And to me, I think, actually, I'm very much aware that the youth are represented. Only that, they also induce, I'm a physics teacher, through induction, they induce that very corruption from their corrupt parents, who at the end also end up joining the other way around. In the absence of free and fair elections, are the people represented? Definitely, I will say no. Because when say free and fair elections, that means I have the right to vote, and if I don't want, then I don't vote. And then if I vote, then my vote should be counted transparently, which has not been the case in Uganda. I'm speaking from the self perspective and from the realistic part of it. And therefore, we don't have free and fair elections in Uganda. Yeah, then tackling the third, do we have value for money for the cost of democracy? To me, I look at money as a facilitator.
Information. Kampala University, Uganda University, please step forward. They have questions for you. Come in.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm called Mugambwa Samuel from Uganda University. I've come here to inform the precurrent speaker that the 75% youth in Uganda are represented by 5 people in the government legislative assembly. When the UPDF has 10 and people with disability also has got 5. So I don't know the fair representation of people you're talking about.
Thank you, the moderator. I'm Marini Febrenda from Kampala University. When the precurrent speaker said the youth are fairly represented, I felt like crying. Because if 75% people are represented by 5 people, and then the least people are represented by very many people, okay, there are no MPs for the old people in Uganda, but there are people above 75 in parliament, and they are the most number because in Uganda you need a lot of money to become an MP, and the youth are broke, so we are not fairly represented, for God's sake. You will not go to parliament when you don't have 70 million at hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that before I talked about self-perspection, and I am talking about qualitative representation. UPDF having 10 people, actually you are opposing me, because me, I'm talking about qualitative. In other words, the numerical advantage. Put there one, let him get a burden as he increases on the effectiveness. That is the thing. So what I mean, let's have one representing 100. That is 1 to 100. So as if the burden is strongly imposed on him, then he increases that very effectiveness for the betterment of the people. But then we do not want to uproot useless. We do not need to uproot a bunch of incompetent people just because we are favoring the number. I told you it matters and it depends on the quality. And thank you.
Thank you, the pre-current speaker. My name is Gerald Ribarunji. I'm Kodebusan University. The pre-current speaker says the youth are ably represented, and I'm getting to ask. We have all heard that the rich influence the policy and influence elections here. Let us consider at the regional level. In Western Uganda, we are represented by the son of the noble, who doesn't know even the concerns of the poor youth, who doesn't know anything of the poor, anything concerning we who have toiled with UPE, we who have toiled with fees, we who have been sleeping on empty stomach, trying to get education. But we have someone who is son of the noble, and we are not even aware where they get that kind of money that force them into education. We are the ones who knows the who know the concerns of ourselves, and who are on ground, and we can be better leaders. Yes, I don't think I elected them. I don't think so, because I mentioned earlier that there is what we call the power of the money. Now, people working on the ignorance of the youth. No, the information with kind of leadership is with the few. You get me? Because what is on ground, money has the power, and it is on the ignorance of the poor. Someone making us poor, and of course we understand. I have very many youth who have been dragged with the issues of money, not directly saying, thank you.
Thank you much. We are actually coming out of our shells now. I have my 3 brothers around here who are working around Kampala town. These people didn't go home to vote. In other words, the youth are now becoming noisemakers. We are not voting. Our impact towards the politics of Uganda is actually limited to some extent. Myself didn't vote, you can imagine. But then I'm here making noise. What do I mean here? Change begins with us. If at all we sleep on our tongues, then we need to accept things to be done the way they are always done. That is the thing. And the only thing I tell you people, I beseech you, I actually say that because the whole village is poor, I should not live in a grass-thatched house for long. In other words, you can advocate for change, because if a small obstacle gets into the system, then the whole system goes down. You understand the obstacle I'm talking about? So what am I telling you now? Since you've seen the obstacle, I yearn for qualitative representation of the people, of which youth are qualitatively represented. Only that some other discrepancies in Uganda come alongside the interests of some big-stomached people then. I actually measure quality according to the services delivered to people. And definitely, if at all we are to become realistic, I'm very much aware that youth are representing, the youth have been kindly represented. That is the thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He opened the ground. Crispus Munzira, like we said, after 3 minutes, the panel, the debaters are open to questions and interaction from yourselves, both up at the table and amongst you. At this point, we'll call on Joy Mukebezi from Busitema University. Welcome, Joy.
Thank you so much. All protocol observed, I salute you all. My name is Mukebezi Joy. I'm a student in Ustema University pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Mining Engineering. Our topic today is qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people. Which way Uganda? Under this topic, we have 3 questions. Are the youth ably represented? In the absence of free and fair elections, are the people ably represented? And then the last question is value for money. Yeah. I'm not going to answer each question accordingly, but I'll do it throughout my essay. So pay attention, then you can ask later. On the 8th of November 2016, Donald Trump emerged the president-elect of the United States of America. And in his victory speech, he said, working together, we'll begin the work of rebuilding the American dream. I'll pose a question to you. As you're coming to be a leader, as you're a leader at a different platform, what is your dream? If you became a president of Uganda tomorrow, what would be the Ugandan dream to you as an individual? Yeah? Now, qualitative. When we talk of qualitative, we mean the value, the impact, the effect that your representation is impacting on the people. If you become an MP of a place, how is it impacting me who was elected you in power? Research carried out in my home area, people keep asking a question, why do you even bother electing leaders? The situations of roads remains the same term in, term out. Yeah? Research at regional level shows that leaders, after being elected, they even migrate and they construct houses in different places, only to come back when they're asking for another term. Are we really being represented qualitatively? Now, when I talk about quantitative, I mean the number. Currently, we have a total of 458 members of parliament, with a total of 112 women MPs. Now, that is a good number. We are really being represented. But if I'm to ask you a question, does the impact these people are creating on us, is it proportional to their number in parliament? Look at the representation at the different levels. At universities, we have good leaders. Yeah? Qualitative versus quantitative. Now, I'll talk about this. We people who are electing these people on the different platforms, we should come up with ways on how to account these people. We should come out with ways on how to ask them for the things they've promised us during their campaigns. Yeah? Okay. I'll go to something else. When we talk about qualitative and quantitative, when we put all these 2 things together, we shall come up with ways that we can get our way forward. And if we implement this way forward, we shall better our lives. Because when we do this quantitatively, we shall get an aggregation. We shall get what is on ground. And when we go qualitative, we shall be in position to come up with ways, to come up with way forwards. When we talk about a youth, United Nations defines a youth as someone between the age of 15 and 29 years.
Information from Montesano University.
Okay.
Please come down, carry on.
Yeah. And then in Uganda, we have the National Youth Council. It acts as a mass organization collecting all the youths in Uganda. Uganda has the youngest population. It has 78% of the population under the age of 30. And we are having only 5 representatives in the parliament. Basically, these people are coming from the different regions. Okay, can I ask?
Good afternoon to you all. Emmanuel Bambla by names from Montesano University. And my point to the panelists here, if I'm borrowing the words of the first panelist, said that 2 heads are better than 1 head. So Ugandans, we need quality of those leaders representing us. So to that view, my point will be that we should help those quality youth we see, so that we lift them to the panels so that they can take our views ahead. Because if you are saying that, because many are coming to take that chance of reading because they are having money and they are going to do nothing to us. So my view is that Okay.
Okay, thank you. Still on the point of National Youth Council. Now, National Youth Council is a mass organization which acts as an electoral college for all these MPs who are representing us. Now, there are youth structures existing in Uganda. We have 2 youth representatives at the local levels, these people outside the National Youth Council, but it's basically an arm of the National Youth Council. Now, we need to harmonize these structures. Recently, we had an economic empowerment program, the Youth Livelihood Fund. Right now, we are under the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. But I'm proposing that if we have a Ministry of Youth, if such programs come up, they will be directly...
Please use the microphone next to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mine is one that we have one. My name is John Baptist Temple. I'm from Champion University. We have 458 MPs. Don't you think by increasing the number of the youth, we shall just pass them and the others the house and have still who are debates in the house?
We can have 2 things. We can increase the number of youth representatives since we have a large number of youths in the country, and reduce the number of representatives of, for example, the army. We can cut off the number of constituencies and we have few constituent MPs. Thank you. So now I've got something else. Do we have value for money? Let us look at the current situation. Right now, if you don't have money, you can't go for any political post because you must have money to bribe the people. That is what is going on. You must have money to bribe the people. You must have money to finance these campaigns.
Information, Kampala International University, Ndeje University, and Pentecostal University.
As they are coming, I'll be continuing. You must have a large sum of money to finance these campaigns. Yeah? And now,
thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Regan Modia, Ndeje University. Now, I love the current speaker, the panelist, but please, I have a view. Can we stop answering new questions with the same old answers, just as Ben Carson told us? I mean, on and off, we always argue about the big parliament that we have. For your information, the people in the parliament, some of them don't have even where to sit. That's why they even dodge attending the parliament sessions. Now, that means we're answering new questions with the same old answers, which is wrong. We are talking of 458, and we are here discussing of how to increase the number. I think the issue should not be about how we should increase on the 458 that are already excessive. No. I think the question, the statement should be, how do we get to answer new questions with new answers? That is, how do we go back to our constituencies? Each one of us here comes from a different constituency. How do we go back to where we come from? And please, ask or teach, sensitize the mothers, the fathers, the grandies, and the young children out there, and tell them that please, this coming regime, out of the 458, we need to have 400 when they're youths. We should not debate on how to increase the 458 to become 600. Thank you.
Make it very precise.
Thank you very much. I'm Okidi Christopher from Uganda Pentecostal University. Now, I don't know why the young blood of this nation is overshrinking. They are underrepresented, and yet the resources they receive, for instance, the Youth Livelihood Fund, is not well used. You misappropriate funds, you misallocate funds. Apparently, Right Honorable Nachuala has a backlog of looking into how the resources, the Youth Livelihood Fund, was spent. Of late in the news, you've been hearing how associations that went into farming are now crying fall of weather, people who went into circles. I mean, we receive the money, but we do not budget for it appropriately. So till when shall we keep on crying? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Tebusweka Ivan is my name, Kampala International University, as well, brief as a briefcase. The speaker has just talked of the value of money, and he's saying that the only problem as far as the value of money is concerned is because of the MPs who are coming and using a lot of money to go into parliament. To me, my concern about the value of money in Uganda is that it's not all about the MPs, but the value of money is always determined by the big people in the government. That is why you see that someone is just waking up every day and changing money as if he's changing the shirt. So to me, if at all we want to have value of money, let's not look at the MPs who are using a lot of money to come into the parliament, but let's look at someone who's just changing our money day and day. Thank you very much.
Yeah, before you...
We will give the debater an extra 2 minutes because she's had a bit more interruption than the others.
Thank you so much. I'm Lake Gender Fancy from Gulu University. Now, the presenter from Busitema University, when you talk of increasing the number of youth members of parliament and decreasing the number of the rest, you beat my understanding, because what is the essence? It will still remain over 400 MPs representing people in the whole country. And by the way, these people who represent these ones who don't represent youth MP, the youth, these ones who are not youth MPs, still represent the youth. I come from Gulu district. I'm being represented by Honorable Betty Aholo Chan, not like she's representing the old people. So I don't see the essence. And when you talk of a youth ministry, then it beats my understanding if you know the position of Honorable Chiyinji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I was still on the value of money, and let me ask us a question. Can we estimate the electoral expenses? Let us look at the previous elections, especially that had accounted for money. Who knows where it has gone? Yeah? We basically don't have value for money. I'll really say this straight away. Let us look at the size of our parliament. We are having many MPs, facilitating them, and the amount, the facilitation they receive is not even proportional to the kind of work they are, to the service they're delivering to the people. Yeah? I would propose now on the issue of having a big parliament. Basically, we can now we can divide the parliament into 2 chambers, the upper house and the lower house. Yeah? Such that these people are critically scrutinized for their effective representation of their people. I'll go to the third point. The third question was, yeah? Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll first introduce the third bit of it. Article 1 of the Constitution tells us that power belongs to the people, who shall exercise it, their sovereignty in the Constitution. Yeah? The authority of this government lies in our hands. We have the power to elect the leaders out of our will, not out of being compelled, not out of being bribed. Therefore, members, I'll conclude by telling us that let us love our country. Let us do something that will impact our country positively. This is because if we do this, we shall be in position to benefit from it to our best, and we shall serve our people, because we are all aspiring to be leaders one day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy. Just for the audience, does the number matter? Does it really matter how many people are in parliament? Possibly, possibly not. If the youth are the biggest population of this country, doesn't it also go that you actually determine who of those 400 and more members of parliament are there? If therefore you chose today to change the dynamics, would they or would they not change? That's for the audience. We will at this point invite Charles Walyaula from Busoga University.
Protocol observed, judges. My name is Charles Walyaula, Busoga University law student. Judges, I want to work with you through this document. I'm a law student and I speak about facts. One, qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people of Uganda. What's the way forward? I want you to, I beg you, first of all, to appreciate that when you talk about qualitative and quantitative, I want you to take a situation of a computer, hardware plus, vis-a-vis software. Does Uganda require software or Uganda requires hardware? Because we have a lot of hardware. I think, to me, where I stand, we require software. And I can advance my points. Through this, I will start with second question. In the absence of free and fair elections, do we have true people's representation? As I said, I use facts. I want to start with this is the Constitution. Everybody must have it. And as Uganda, they beg you to have the Constitution because facts speak. Now, when you look at Article number 1, all power belongs to the people. Number 2, without limiting the effect of the clause 1, the article, all the authority and state emanates from the people of Uganda. That's what the article says. But as the article keeps on developing, we have people who have looked at this constitution and are punching holes. For example, when you look at Dr. Busije is teaching international law, that is Busije Kahumba. He's teaching international law. He did a write-up in the article in the Monitor. He teaches, of course, Busije teaches constitutional law and international law. I mean, constitutional law and international law in Makerere University. He did a write-up in the Monitor, and this is what he said. In his view, having regard to the Constitution, political and legal history of our country, I think it is fair to say that 1995 Constitution is essentially an illusion. Why does he want to say it's an illusion? He wants to say an illusion because when he looks at the history and the way the Constitution has been worked by the executive, he says all power belongs to President Museveni. He exercises this power through armed forces. That's what he says. Through armed forces. And then he comes down and says, after all, when Museveni addressing Parliament, he said one time, he says, I do not mind if NRM MPs slept in Parliament, as long as they woke up once in a while and vote for NRM. You can see how he dismisses the Constitution. He says, I don't care. So long as members of Parliament, members of NRM in Parliament woke up at one time, even if they are asleep, to vote for anything to do with NRM. He went further and said, as far as judiciary is concerned, judges. He said when judges were making a ruling, he dismissed in 2004, in June, he said, the major work for the judges is to settle chicken and goat theft cases, but not determine the country's destiny. What does that mean? It means institutions of government defined by the document of the Constitution are not respected. So the question is, in the absence of free and fair elections, do we have true representation of people? No. Even if institutions are there, people are there, but are being dismissed by the executive. I move on, as somebody is coming in. I move on. I therefore say that
International and Chamber of University.
Let them come. I'm going to give them. So my conclusion is, as we move forward, yes, you'll come, my brother.
Yeah. Good afternoon. My brother, I would wish you to elaborate more on, because now we are buying human beings' time. You cannot come and talk about computer hardware and software, and you cannot, without giving us the applications. You talked about Dr. Besige's Monitor Court, and you didn't give us the particular date. Besides, I would wish us to really handle this topic sincerely, because we are talking about qualitative and quantitative representation of the youth. Now, I don't know if you really understand it well, but in the parliament, we know of the majority number. If a motion is brought on the floor of the parliament, and the majority number has not supported that motion, we realize that motion goes in favor of those who are majority. We seek more youth in the parliament than the rest of the group of people, because psychology reveals to us that the youth are in the active session of their brains of mind. So we suppose...
How do you deliver those youth to parliament?
That's what I'm coming to, sir. Now, the fact that we are basing upon now here is that the value for money. you realize that for you to stand and for you to really go through, you need publicity and so on. But we realize that these youth are just from some session of their studies and so on. They need to be imparted with some finance to really go through amid these challenges of other people who have been standing and who have been investing, the old age who have been investing. So we seek for the value of money. We are realizing that there was...
Thank you. Thank you. We'll let you go at that.
Thank you so much. My name is Oscar Kutensa from Bishop Stuart University. First and foremost, it is important to know that in this country, we are under a military regime. The government we have is not the government that the people represented. However, the current speaker being a law student, because the basis...
what is the basis of your assertion?
When you look at the reports from the observers, all of them agreed with me that we had the election was not free and fair. And now the fact that it was not free and fair, and our constitution provides that an election should be free and fair, should reflect the will of the people. Once you find the president who is in power, or any other leader, his leadership does not reflect the will of the people. That means that does not reflect the will of the people in the country. But however, besides that, the applicant being a law student, the basis for the youth representation is found in Article 32 of our dear Constitution, which provides for the marginalized, the representation of the marginalized people. That is affirmative action. And actually, that's where I'm coming. In light of Article 21, which provides for equality of the people, that all people are equal before and under the law. My friend, do you think Article 32, which provides for the representation of the people, and the rest who are marginalized, is it still relevant, or it is making us more marginalized? Lastly,
thank you. Okay, the rest of you, I'm giving you 15 seconds to put your question. Make it precise. 15. Question, crisp, precise.
My name is from Kampala International University, and as we are looking at both qualitative and quantitative, I need to inform you that in Uganda of today, we are not about qualitative and quantitative, but how the election has been commercialized. And then we need to work hard and leave betting, and then we have money, we outcompete these old musees who go in parliament just to sleep and eat the money.
Thank you. Next, 15 seconds.
Dalun Deborah Sewato, Central Lens University. Now the problem is not how many people in the parliament. The problem is what powers do they have. And the other is, if I was born in 1995 and someone was still a minister and still a minister today, then we have a problem. It's not qualitative or quantitative.
Finally, 15.
Thank you. Patricia Chambogo. I would like to ask the rest of the speakers, beginning with Charles. We would like to hear the quality of the present MPs, their quality in parliament, what they have on the floor, or the numeric strength. If you think there should be many, we want to hear the advantages vis-a-vis the quality of MPs other than the constitution.
The speaker will get an extra 3 minutes.
Judges,
I'll ask the timekeeper to count.
Judges, I beg that you don't listen to those comments. You don't listen to those comments, judges, because I think I begged you that we have a format, a paper that's directing us. And I said, I'm starting with number 2. In the absence of free and fair elections, do we have true people's representation? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what I talk about. They're coming, imagining things, they answer themselves and ask themselves. But I want you to listen to me. What I'm trying to say, judges, is in the question number 2, in the absence, because I've talked about the Constitution, and I'm talking about then what is the way forward? Because we are being asked here. Reference to citizens' compact and free and fair election. Then what's the way forward? I expect my friends here who have been voters to know what the citizens' compact talks about, because we have had a lot of workshops and seminars and discussions. We in fact discussed about citizens' compact, and we have defined it. We have read through it. It talks about Uganda's free and fair elections and have given us guidelines. The guidelines are this, simple. Do we have an independent electoral commission? We have discussed it and we said no. Now, if you don't have an independent electoral commission, what do you do about it? We have discussed it and we said, therefore, our recommendation then is we must have a free and fair elections through representation of EEC. And you know, the article was changed. When you look at Constitutional Amendment 2015, Constitutional Amendment 2015 has addressed the fate of EEC. If those people, if any one of you has read the Constitution was amended 2015, it has changed. It has addressed the lifetime, the terms and references of EC. It has said, we are going to remove EC the way we remove judges. So this has been addressed, and it was recommended by the Compact. So the recommendation is, my recommendation is all of us go read the Compact, and the country must follow what the Compact has said. I'm not going to repeat documents here because we are students who have talked about these documents. We must move forward. Let's apply what the Compact has recommended to us. Let us also consult the 2015 recommendation by Commonwealth countries. Commonwealth countries commented, they have listed about actually 25 study points, and one of them was EC, another one was about police presence, interference, about water bribery, and all those things. Those things are right. I'm not going to repeat them. Judges, what I want you to do is this. You know these things. But what I'm only doing is I'm repeating them. So that, you know, a point repeated once, 2, 3, 4, it becomes obvious. So for it to become obvious, then we must go ahead and do that. I also want to, lastly, I want before I go to number one, I want to just briefly talk about bribery. What I'm talking about, do we have value for money for the cost of democracy in Uganda? I want to tell you this. No, because one, this is out of bribery. Two, size of parliament. People have talked about parliament. I will not repeat, but a parliament that is there, does it have the value? It doesn't have value. You can see from the president himself, he says, so long as NRM members of parliament are in parliament and are sleeping, so long as they wake up one point and vote for NRM, I don't care. So does parliament help? It doesn't help. So the way forward on that, I may not be able to do that, but I want to pack up all my things. One, about youth. Youth, I have given to you references from 1 to 9 about Black Law Dictionary, Youth National Policy defining youth. I want to talk about, I've also recommended to you references to Constitution of Uganda, National Youth Conference, Uganda Network, and so many of them. I will give you my document, by the way, WWC Waliaula. I will give you my document. Judges, I'm giving you my document for reference so that you do it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Viewers, wherever you're watching us, this is an initiative of the Center for Constitutional Government and the Hope Initiative Clubs that goes around the country. Its aim is to equip, to brush up the young brains on constitutionalism in this country. Several partnerships, among them the DGF. And viewers watching us in your office, where you work from, at your home, if you're already there, we are at Statistics House, and you have a collection of students from various universities. I'll ask them to flash that card. If the cameras will catch them, flash that card. If I can read them from wherever they are, I will read, if my sight is that good. Kabale University, All Saints University Lango, Ankole Western University, Bishop Stewart University, Makerere Business School. The other one is closed. Kampala University, International University, Makerere University. They actually here even when they are closed. Gulu University, Bugema University, Kampala International University, Mbarara University of Science and Technology, Uganda Christian University, Chambogo University, Nkumba University, Cavendish University, Busitema University, Busoga University, Mutesa One Royal University, Ndeje University, Pentecostal University, Islamic University in Uganda, Mountains of the Moon, St. Lawrence University. Did I miss any? International Health Science University. Okay, I need to catch my breath. There are quite a number. When I was growing up, there was one. And don't ask when was that. You may count my age. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we will ask Mr. Mohamed Abubaker from Islamic University in Uganda to come up.
The moderator, the judges, fellow panelists, gentlemen under the cameras, members in the August House, and the viewers, good afternoon and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Abakar from Islamic University in Uganda, and I'm here to talk about quantitative and qualitative representation of the people, and the case study is Uganda. And the topics we are looking at, in the absence of free and fair elections, are the people well represented? Are the youth ably represented in today's governance structure? Do we have value for money for the cost of democracy? Fellow members, may I start by telling you what quantitative is? Quantitative, this is the measure of the value of something. Quantitative, this is the measure for the number of size. Qualitative, this is the measure of value for something. Now we're asking ourselves, in the absence of a free and fair election, are the people well represented? Now when we look at the definition of a free and fair election, this is where people are made, or people participate in the elections without any kind of interference. And when you look at the definition of an election, this is where people make the decision to elect a representative. And people, of course, we are the people. Then, now when we refer to the Uganda Citizens Compact on free and fair elections, we shall find out that this compact was declared last year, having realized that there were aspects of absence of free and fair elections where the Electoral Commission was not independent. It was falling on a specific side. Are we clear? Then we shall also look at the security. The security was also having some influence of falling on some side. And at the end of the day, we shall see that these are aspects that were showing that there was no free and fair elections. And that is when members came up and said, no, let us declare the compact of citizens. And now when we look at the amendments made in 2015, we shall realize that the Honorable Minister, that is Kainda Otafire, said that for any member to stand in on a card of independent, he should have 1,000 signatories. Why should I collect all the 1,000 signatories if I wish to be an independent candidate? So this one indicates that there is no free and fair election. Then when we come on the report of the observers, you realize that they made a report and declared that the elections were not free and fair. For example, the election observers, the election observer report, the election observers report of European Union, they made a report and said that the elections were not free and fair because time and again Besigye was being put under custody, time and again people were being flogged, time and again we were seeing crime preventers. What for? And of course, in such kind of intimidating situation, in such kind of a process where people are on tenterhooks, it clearly indicates that people were not giving in their choice freely and fairly. So that one indicates that people did not give in their choice very well. Let us look at voter intimidation. People, now and again, people were being intimidated. And of course, if you intimidate me.
Yeah, I just have some point of information, the current speaker. We have the Citizens Election Observation Network, Uganda. It gave a report that the elections were relatively peaceful, though the Electoral Commission failed to fulfill its functions in some of the districts, leaving most of the contestants and the voters dissatisfied. I was just informing him about that.
Thank you very much.
Therefore, the report wasn't that the elections were not free and fair. They were relatively peaceful, but the Electoral Commission failed to fulfill its functions. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The precurrent speaker is just pouring water on Daka's back because everybody was very well keenly seeing the closure of the social medias, the closure of WhatsApp, Twitter, Uganda decides hashtag. So how can you tell me that the elections were free and fair? So we shall realize that by blocking people getting access to social media, it indicated that people were not giving in their choice freely and fairly. And it clearly indicates that people were not represented fully and fairly. When I talk about the aspect of the youth representation in today's governance structure. Let us ask ourselves, what is the governance? Okay.
Thank you very much, our moderator. Ngeti Sebright, Cavendish. I think the whole concern of this debate today is about the quality versus the figure, the amount, which our panelists are not addressing. You are addressing the national politics of Museveni and his government. Tell us whether we need more youth MPs in the parliament, and tell us the essence of having more MPs. Address us to whether the current 5 youth representatives are working to our expectations, and guide us on the election procedures to those youth representatives.
Thank you, moderator. I'm called Kakuru Owen from Kampala University. I would like to inquire from the preceding speaker, where he was talking about the 2015 constitutional amendment, and he talked of Minister Kaindo Tafire said that for any independent candidate to stand needs 1,000 signatories. Can I please inquire from you and tell me, for those contestants that were coming from certain political parties, how many signatories were needed to them? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Pius Adokio Doch from Bara University of Science and Technology. I will say that the precurrent speaker, just like the rest, have given us some facts, some of them true, and others maybe not, but they are still not guiding us very well as far as the topic is concerned. We are talking about representation. Is it qualitative? Is it quantitative? I would like them to tell us about the structures we have for representation. And in my opinion, I would inform you that we have structures. We have structures for students to be represented, most of whom are young people, through UNSA. We have structures for youth to be represented in the district councils, from the village levels, the sub-county levels, the National Youth Council, and even in Parliament. And the focus should be on other structures, not just Parliament, and empower them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Mwinja Nyakadekere and I'm from Kampala University. I think just as the other speakers have said, the panelists have not defined the questions. I think they're formulating their own motions, and I will request them to analyze the question and then come with facts. It's saying which way Uganda. So it's not, you are beating around the bush. Come to the facts and give us points.
Thank you very much.
I'll give you more time if you're going to answer the questions from any of.
Yes, I'm answering some. Thank you very much. Now, members, you be very keen and listen attentively, because we are giving facts, and at least you have to scrutinize and find out where you have to take some content. Now, we have been talking about the aspect of free and fair elections. You saw what happened in 2016 elections, the previous elections. You saw what was happening. Many of you were blocked from accessing WhatsApp, Twitter, Tango, Viber. And at the end of the day, many of you used the VPNs to break into the system. And you saw information that there were missing ballots. Of course, in that kind of state, of course, there is no real representation of the people.
Did that in any way affect the results?
Definitely it did, because the moment people were blocked from social medias, how will I now communicate to a fellow colleague to tell him, you know what, there is this and this going on, you know what, there is this and this going on? At the end of the day, people's minds were blocked somewhere. So there was no free and fair election. And for that case, therefore, people's representation was not fair.
Does that affect the youth representation?
Definitely, it affected our representation. Because if I possibly wanted to communicate to a colleague and telling him, you know what, I was watching so candidate giving a catching speech. I think he has something to do for us. Please, may we vote him? And already the social medias are blocked. Then how will I make my point? Then when I cross to the issue of the youth representation in today's governance structure, we have seen many of you have defined the youth, and we have said that according to the constitution, it is at the age bracket of 18 to around 30 or 35. But now, most of us here, we are under that age bracket, and this is the stage where people are very vigorous and vibrant and in a position to do change or to take change, to put change on board. But now, let us look at...
If I may ask, do the youth have to be in parliament or at the LC councils to influence policy?
They have to, because when you look at the number of the youth today, 78% of the youth, but can you imagine, we are being represented by 5 people. How will the MP of Eastern Uganda mobilize 32 districts of Eastern Uganda? No, all the issues of the people in Eastern Uganda, 32 districts, 1 representative in parliament. My view is some of the people should be scrapped out of the parliament and more of the youth representatives should be sent into the parliament to represent the huge number of the youth in this country. Thank you very much. Allow me to submit my copy for more scrutinizing.
Thank you. That's Abubakar from Islamic University in Uganda. We'll go straight to Kabale University, Sylvia Komgisha. For the youth, as you think through as Sylvia comes, I am sure the youth can change the nature and way the politics happens in this country without occupying space, but stamping their foot. How? It's up to you.
Thank you very much. I'm Sylvia Komgisha from Kabale University, but my home district is Mbarara in Rwampara. I will disagree with some of the members who are saying that the panelists are out of the context, because we are talking about qualitative versus quantitative representation of people which were Uganda, and we have some questions we are addressing. One of the questions is are the youth able represented in today's governance? And we have another one addressing the value for money for democracy, and then we have free and fair elections. So when someone talks about free and fair elections and democracy, that person has not gone out of the context. According to the African Youth Charter, it defines the youth as someone who is between the age of 15 and 35, and in Uganda we have 78% of the people comprising of the youth. I will also start with the second question of, in the absence of free and fair elections, are the people able represented? When we talk about free and fair elections, they are supposed to be periodic. Someone is supposed to have a chance to vote without any interference or without anything given to him. But towards the elections of the 2016 presidential elections, we received 250,000 for each village. I don't know what that amount was accountable for, but to me, I think it was seducing those people who are still deep in the villages, who don't know what is happening up, to vote the people who are in favor. One of the philosophers said the primary duty of a person is to think for himself. But in today's Ugandan government, some people have started thinking for us. Someone thinks if I buy salt, I buy sugar for these people, they will vote me and I will lead for the next maybe 25 years. You have been hearing about the saga that has been happening in the parliament about this MP Stage Teleco. When he tabled this issue of removing the age limits of the presidential and the judges and so forth, he was given the guards to start guarding him. What were they for? That means the government has something it is hiding. So when we talk about the free and fair elections in Uganda, when you start bribing people by buying them salt, by buying them sugar, then I think you have seen our president carrying money in sacks around Kampala, distributing them to the people, because maybe they voted him right. That's what he's talking about. You watched this saga about when they are voting the deputy speaker of the parliament. He first came in. Remember when they are voting the speaker and the vice speaker, the president is not supposed to be in the parliament, but he came in when people protested against it, he moved out of the parliament, but said he was giving the deputy speaker of the parliament a test of which he passed after putting the CCTV cameras. If you are voting, they will see where you have ticked. If you don't tick there, then you are answerable to it.
Do you have the benefit to see this?
Yes, because when they are voting, the deputy speaker of the parliament were watching the news. We saw what was happening. The cameras were over the MPs. Of course, what were they for? Because when we are voting, we have the right to privacy. What were the cameras for? There was no privacy in voting the deputy speaker of the parliament. So I will conclude by saying that we don't have free and fair elections. Then when we are answering the value for money for democracy, when we talk about democracy, people are supposed to be free when they are voting, and the government should not intervene for that. According to the observers, one of the Tanzanian former leaders, Hassan Amanyi, had this to say: I was very happy to observe the patience and orderliness with which the people of Uganda conducted the general elections. But after giving that, the EAC Observer Commission came out saying that the elections were not free. And when we go into it, we see that this man was...
Information passed from the table.
Thank you very much.
President Bingwasha.
Thank you very much. Yes, I place a motivo in the North Face. I like ending a meeting with fire, but not in smoke, if at all we intended to get fire. So I'm questioning my lady. What is the way forward? What should we do as Ugandans? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Abubakar. Okay, he skips that. We'll take 4 universities from up here: International Health Sciences, Uganda Christian University, Mountains of the Moon. I'm trying those that I haven't had come down here before. Usitema, All Saints University.
Thank you.
Please be very precise and do 20 seconds.
This is Rohinda Isaac, Mountain Joe, the Moon University. I would like to inform the precurrent speaker that, and actually the other speakers that are yet to come, that when we are looking at these things, we should look at the question really and try to answer it as how it is required. The question is saying, in absence of free and fair elections, are people well represented? Meaning that there is already unfair and unfair elections, but are we represented? Thank you.
Thank you everyone present at this arena. My name is Maurice Okello from All Saints University. I just want to inform the House, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think the speakers who are coming up here, the panelists, they're misguiding the House. I think the question is very clear, saying that it is about quality versus quantity, but they are bringing in the issue of free and fair elections, which falls under quality, which just falls under a context under quality. That is quality. So we have to be very clear. We go straight. Do we need more numbers, or we need the quality in the people? Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Sharon Atkunda Biarhanga from International Sciences University. She spoke of something like about the free and fair elections. The youth, we've been manipulated. We just like he said, we are people who are now just noise makers. When you look back in the 2016 elections, just like he said, he also didn't vote. Many of us are good at talking, but we do not go to cast our votes. If you're able to stand and you have the ideas, you know whom you want, please go cast your vote. Those votes are many that were wasted. Maybe would have had an impact on change. You get? He spoke of the youth can have an impact on change. True, because we are the majority. Let's stand. It starts with us, not with anyone else. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I still remain Aiko Mike, Busitema University. Panel of judges, I would let us know this. When we are talking to the country, let us give facts. We cannot come and say here that the 250,000 shillings was given to the citizens without a source. We cannot come and say here that the president of Uganda, the current president of Uganda, was carrying sacks of money in Kampala without giving evidence. It may be true, but let us know of where you're getting those stuffs from, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Peter Ahabwe from Uganda Christian University. There are two pertinent questions we have before us, qualitative or quantitative. My biggest question that underneath this that is underneath these two perspectives is effective representation. So I pose a question to the panelists. At the end of the day, are we ably represented, whichever route we choose to take, whether we'll have one or we'll have 7 as the panelists are proposing? Are we having effective representation? Thank you. Thank you.
Answering of the question of which way forward after the unfair and free elections, I think when the Electoral Commission is in the hands of the President, I think we should have an independent Electoral Commission and we should have, when it is coming towards the time of elections, the President should step down and not have the powers to control the nation. His vice or a Prime Minister should be in charge of the country so that he does not interfere with the elections going on.
Does it happen anywhere else?
Sorry?
Does it happen anywhere else?
Yes, it has been happening in other countries like America when they are going to vote, the president is not in charge of the country. Then when we talk about the youth ably represented in the parliament, yes, when we are talking about the youth as the age bracket in 15 to 35 years. I think when we say that we need more youth MPs to represent us, we are not fair. Because even if you're not standing on the post of representing the youth, but most of the people in the parliament are 35 and below, so they should use that age bracket to speak for the youth because they're also in that age bracket, but not increase on the number of the youth MPs. Let those who are MPs of the constituencies or municipalities, but are in the age bracket of the youth, speak on behalf of the youth and represent us as the youth of Uganda. Then on the issue of the parliament size, I would say that this splitting of the districts should stop, because we shall split the districts, split them that we need service delivery. Then splitting of the districts will be over. We split the constituencies. They will also be over. We start splitting the families. So to me, I think we should stop splitting the families so that we can reduce on the number of the MPs. And another thing, to stop the electoral malpractices to be allowed, I think there should be freedom of censorship. Whenever the elections are going on, everybody should be free to express what he or she has witnessed so that people can know what is prevailing in the country during the elections, so that we come up with the right statistics that will at least promote democracy and fairness in our country. I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, this debate is brought to you courtesy of the Hope Initiative Clubs, Center for Constitutional Governance, Democracy Governance Facility, and NTV, who are carrying the debate to you who are viewing us wherever you're watching us from. It's a university interface debate, and these have happened for the last possibly 4 years across Uganda. They visited the towns where these universities are, had the debates in the halls of those universities, and it's here at Statistics House in Kampala today. One of those questions that I find very interesting today is, are the youths ably represented in our governance structures? Not in parliament per se. The LC system, all the way from 3 to 5, the municipalities, do you feel the youth there? Are their issues touched? We'll take a break at this point, and when we return from the break, we'll carry on with the other presenters.
My name is Mildred Tracy from Forest Hill College. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hi everybody, this is Manisha Singh from the science class of Forest Hill College. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Hi viewers, my name is Olivia Faith from Forest Hill College. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hi everyone, greetings from Forest Hill College, Mukono. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We welcome you to come and join.
Coming soon on NTV.
Hello everybody, we're broadcasting live from Abraham's Fashion Awards, and this is Dr. Camille presenting tonight Logan Extra.
Hi, Tina Tracy alongside Chameleon. Isn't it such an honor to be introduced to the show by Chameleon? Welcome to the Arts Fest 2016.
Everybody's dressed up depending on what they feel like doing.
You're more famous about these awards, actually.
I knew everybody's going to wear a gown, so I thought, let me try something different, something short, something sexy, something...
Sam Golden Watches. What is this? For sale? And there you go, beautiful couple out here. How do you feel seeing Mommy on TV?
I feel great. You remember, reflect and remember. That's the life you chose.
Brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Oh, the sky comes falling down. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I'm far from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call.
Watch Coke Studio Africa on youtube.com/Coke Studio Africa.
Coming soon on NTV.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Do you think I was put here just for like a feeling?
I thought you were done checking.
You look glad. What is in there? Are you armed here?
I can't see anyone.
So what? I'm telling you that people there to see you and then you start backing at me. Do you think I came here for the only because I don't know what to do?
Where do you think the money you want to buy the vehicles comes from?
There are so many other people that are stakeholders. Where are you driving to? Stay in the clinic, treat people. You don't need a car. Give the cars to the politicians because we go to different places talking to people. We deserve cars.
Me, Amos, 4 years in Makerere University. Yes.
What did you study? Huh? What did you study?
I was a guard at the main gate.
News Updates is brought to you by Sutherland. Color your world. Keep the walls inside your house free of stains with vinyl silk emulsion from Sutherland. Sutherland, color your world. Trusted and admired for generations.
Welcome back. the university's interface debate here at Statistics House, brought to you courtesy of the Hope Initiative clubs that are running across all universities in this country, Democratic Governance Facility, and Center for Constitutional Governance. And we're here courtesy of NTV in your living room, in your office. And I'll ask the universities wherever they are, as the camera picks them up, they'll flash that card and you'll be able to see how many universities are here. I won't read them out this time. I'll read out Makerere University to be sure that they're actually here. And I won't ask where they stayed over the evening to be able to come here. Someone says they are here illegally. No, they are closed from operation, not from the debate. Our judges for this afternoon, I have Mr. Patrick Tumwine, the head of Advocacy and Research and Information at HURINET, Human Rights Network Uganda. I have Dr. Sarah Sally. She is a senior lecturer at the College of Humanities and Social Sciences of Makerere University, that is closed. They haven't been paid, by the way. Oh, the strike is off as of today. Did the university open therefore? Oh, the visitor hasn't opened. The lecturers have called off the strike. Well, I hope that comes with pay. And I have Mr. Arinaitwe Rugendo from the Paper Publications Limited. And ladies and gentlemen, we have representation from various universities here. And right now, we will invite Mr. Emukoki John from Kyambogo University.
Thank you very much. My name is John Baptist Mkoki from Kyambogo University. The biggest question tonight is qualitative versus quantitative. And in a layman's understanding, we are looking at service delivery vis-a-vis the number of people that we have in our parliaments. Ladies and gentlemen, for us to address this very well, then we must answer the following questions. One of the questions that must be answered is, do we need more leaders, or that is enough? And if that is enough, why are we still lagging behind with this that we have? The next question that shall derive us to what we are asking tonight is, let's look at the history of Uganda vis-a-vis the leaders that we have. We have the youth, yes, being the majority. But this youth are suffering. The majority youth are poverty stricken. 63% of the population that is unemployed is youth. We have the highest level of illiteracy. And in tonight's debate or presentation, we are tackling on the 78% of Uganda's population, amounting to 26.5 million Ugandans. What is the effect of this leadership on this 78%? Article 78 provides for representation of all the citizens, and such positions, 5 for youth under the special interest groups. The question is not whether they are 5 or they will be 10 tomorrow. But as very well first I brought to us that, is it about service delivery? We have MPs, because we have this youth, after some time they will cease to be youth and they will still be sleeping in parliament. So what is the best? Let's talk the banana before it becomes very heavy and it falls. These are the same people that we saw in 1998. These are the same people we saw in 2006, and now in 2016 we are crying for them. We are saying that they are not delivering. We have a solution that we must put forward, but before that solution, in March 2015, the Inter-Party Coalition on Dialogue presented 43 electoral reforms to the Speaker of Parliament to be amended. Ladies and gentlemen, none of them has taken course. Among which was to see a free and fair, independent electoral commission. What are we seeing? What did we see in the result of the February 18th, 2016 elections? The post-election violence is its own a significance of the lack of democracy, the lack of trust, and the incompetence of the Electoral Commission. Now, if all that is put forward without battling and looking at the personalities of the individuals that we send, then we must look and address that which youth determine the number of these people who go forward. And if these youth are the ones for us to look at, then we must empower them. We must empower them to have a knowledge such that they will be in position to lead the country into the middle income status that Uganda desires by 2020. I take your questions.
Thank you very much. My name is Tarema from Makerere University. Two things really. Can we really get out of the illusion of numbers in representation? Because there seems to be an illusion of numbers with regard to the youth. Yet statistics show that the 10th Parliament is one of the most youthful parliaments in this country. The real question for me should be, do the youth have an agenda? Because if the youth have an agenda, then the parliamentarians who are there can, for example, form a parliamentary youth caucus. Because we don't have an MP, for example, for Buganda, but there are MPs in the Buganda caucus who represent the interests of the Baganda people. So can we have a caucus in Parliament which is not necessarily for the special youth MPs, but for everyone who falls under that bracket to carry the interests of the youth because we have an agenda? Can we address that issue? Thank you.
My name is Odik Emmanuel from Gulu University. I want to make some clarifications and point of information for some of the precurrent speakers. First of all,
30 seconds.
Yeah, the number of youth between the percentage of youth between the age of 18 and 30, it is 22.7 out of 39.6 million people in Uganda. In other words, the majority of the people in Uganda are the children, but not the youth. And they comprise the youth comprise 53.4% as unemployed. And as to that, it means that they are not eloquently represented very well. However, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This is Wachi Nasul from Islamic University in Uganda. I want to inform my brother, he has talked about that. The people always see in Parliament, they are looking at the 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016. These are people who are being elected by we ourselves. We have a right to choose the right person. We saw one. So the able representation that has failed is not a failure of anyone who is in Parliament right now, but it is the failure of we who do elect. And what people have to put in mind, the qualitative and quantitative we are having, this is the measure of number and the measure of size. So people should look at the service delivery. For example, if you are looking at the youth representation, the youth representation is there, but what is their service towards the representation they are having? Then if you look at money, let's also look at money put into politics and other services. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Martin Kulinjila Cavendish, and the information I want to pass on is that the problem is not the youth being represented in Parliament, but everywhere. And the problem is not actually those that represent the youth are the youth, but even those that we vote, because we vote these people to represent the interests of the people. We are the people, whether the youth or old. We all have our causes, so they should represent those causes. And the problem now is not that they are representing the youth. But the problem is, what is the way forward? How could we shape these people to represent our causes? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm called Simon Charles Joseph from Nkumba University. I just feel that I had enough time to interact with you on this issue. Because to me, it's like we are trying to treat the symptom but not the cause of the disease. I don't know whether we have actually taken time to ask ourselves whether the people having the parliament have ever, whether they have been given resources for the delivery to the people. And if they have been given those resources, what do they do with them? So it means there's something that we are actually forgetting. And that thing is a long-term disease called corruption. Therefore, my pre-current speakers, I would like you to urge about the way forward in as far as fighting corrupt officials is concerned. Thanks.
Nalunguma Deborah Central Lens. I would like to inform the panelists that they are limiting our levels of understanding because they are only focusing on government, on the parliament. But we want to look at areas like LC1s, we want to look at areas like workplaces, we want to look at various places, not only the parliament, because youth are in various areas of the country. Thank you.
Mugamba Samuel, trading as a teacher at Bugema. For me, I'm here because I'm seeing the whole thing ending in smoke, as my brother said. He's speaking about the 43 electoral reforms the human rights activists came up with, but none of them was implemented and we are quiet. For me, I'm here to give you the way forward. The man, Kizza Besigye, has been calling upon you. You people from Makerere University, Kizza Besigye gave the government 10 days to come to open up the university. The 10 days elapsed, he called upon you and you sat at your homes. The Constitution in Article 1, which says the Constitution gives us who are not in Parliament only one chance. It says people shall use any power to attack anyone who tries to abrogate the Constitution. So members, the way forward is to use our constitutional power to take away.
Thank you very much. It is unfortunate that in Uganda we no longer have a parliament, but we have the NRM caucus, whereby if we decide to have another caucus, we have the NRM caucus, whereby issues are discussed.
Thank you very much. Members, let us be very observant. Very many people are talking about the issue of the number of members in the parliament, and people are not considering it. But I want you to understand that we are talking about the value of money for the cost of democracy. Look at the parliament of Uganda with members, with 460 members, and these are the same people demanding for 270 billion to construct new chambers. Can you imagine? And at the end of the day, we shall also realize that Uganda, that has only a GDP of 26 billion US dollars, has 460 members in parliament. Yet South Africa, that has a GDP of 586 US dollars, has less members in parliament than Uganda. What for? Do we have value for our money? Thank you.
Abubakar, you'll do two. Sorry, you.
Thank you very much. I would like to say that representation of youth starts from the grassroots. It is unfortunate that the statement of camouflage has been rubbed on the faces of this youth, the leaders of tomorrow. We have a situation whereby these elders have sat on all opportunities. We have talked about the youth livelihood program, but from your villages you'll bear yourselves witnesses that these monies do not reach, and the bureaucracy tendencies are extreme. We would like to say that the legislation in a country starts from parliament. If bad laws are passed in parliament, then definitely the village has to suffer. So we must start by empowering the youth who vote these people who go up before we can reinstate the grassroots. Then we have reforms and governance structures. We have the youth MPs, we have the youth councillors, we have the youth in villages. But what is the impact? Our impact shall come in our solution, that if we do not empower these youth. One, just like you say, they will remain noisemakers because they will not know what is good for them and what is bad for them. What they will want is short come, short go. No money, no vote. And that is the slogan everybody is almost using. We have a right, yes, under Article 1, we have a right, and all the right emanates from the people according to their will. But that right must be backed up by responsibility. We must have citizens who are responsible to vote for what is right for them. Otherwise, if we just provide a right without a streamline to back up the responsibility, then it would have to lead nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll do the last two. We'll start with Herbert Aliganyira from Mountains of the Moon. And when they're done, we'll have a few minutes for the audience to interact on the subject as well. Be able to prepare yourself to do a 1-minute response on the subject.
Thank you, the moderator of tonight's inter-university debates interface. The protocol observed, I salute you all. I'm Aliganyira Herbert, Mountains of the Moon University, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. So as for today's theme, which is stated that people's representation in regard to quality representation versus quantity representation, with the guiding questions we are having, where number one is, are the youth ably represented in today's governance structure? Number two, in the absence of free and fair elections, are the people well represented? Number three, do we have value for money for the cost of democracy? Honorable members present and the viewers outside there, before you analyze or you weigh people's representation, you first put two factors in consideration or in your mind. One is the Millennium Development Goals of a country, in actual sense, which is Uganda. Like some of the Millennium Development Goals of Uganda is to achieve universal primary education, improve maternal health, eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Actually, even where people are dying of hunger in Sinjiro, then you are having increased access to health services and so forth. So if you see these ones, if they are achieved, you say we are having quality representation. If they are not, mean that we don't have quality representation. Then another factor, it is knowing how we are being represented. Are we treated equally? Like for example, there is this act which is called Public Order Management Act, which treats, which favors one group and suppresses the other and others. So to me personally, because of the above factors have mentioned, I frankly say, totally we don't have any quality representation in Uganda, and to some extent we don't have any quantity representation. Beginning with the question saying, do we have value for money? Automatically no. For example, in Uganda, we have extravagant expenditure. Mr. Honorable members present and the viewers outside there, a majority of us know that in 2005, every MP was given 5 M to change the term limits. Instead of putting that money in some sectors like agriculture, forestry, fishery, and others. So that one means that someone to stay in power or to come in power has to first buy Ugandans. Really, the honorable members present and the viewers, really, should I say that we have value for money in Uganda? Automatically, no. Another one is employing the army in the creation of the program or NADs. Like for example, armies are in the creation of the program, meaning that they are paid twice, the salary from the army sector and from the creation wealth. Yet there are some people who are specialists in agriculture, when yet they are just there unemployed. Meaning that we are sending this message to some Ugandans that they should go and suffer because they remain unemployed when others are just paid twice. Like for me, I'm doing agriculture, meaning that if you make soldiers to be paid twice, for me I will just remain there unemployed, meaning that really we shall not be valuing money. And yet money is supposed to be shared equally to every Ugandan, because all of us we pay taxes.
Thank you very much, the precarious speaker. The whole issue is about democracy. It's true we have representatives in the parliament, but they are not presenting our issues. I will refer to the governance opinion poll report 2016. They are saying only 36% represents the views of the local people. I refer to the 10th parliament which we have, having the majority of the people lying in the youth age bracket, but still they cannot push for our concerns as the youth. If these people were to represent us, because everything is should be based on democracy, if we are to have a better country.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're doing 20 seconds.
Yes.
Do that fast and precise.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm Gala Sancha Magdalene from Gulu University. My view is that qualitative representation of the people is more of an ideal perspective than a reality. Because if you come to our Uganda here, it's more of quantity. Even look at the parliamentarians demanding for 250 million for their personal vehicles, which they're not going to leave in office after they've left that term of office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Walter from MOOBS. My argument is, in Ugandan parliament right now, are they delivering service or not? Because look at the number that you have 480. Still, they're not delivering. Even when we are to increase the number of youth right now from 5 to whatever number.
What do you expect them to do?
My opinion is they should change the structure of governance, because it's like an old wine in the new bottle, that the only thing that youth have to do to take up their members of parliament, they are spending much of their time on luxurious things that don't concern the population and the youth as well.
Thank you. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the local government system in Uganda is a model, one of the best in the entire world. So let's ignore parliamentarians. They're always jokers. Let's look at local government. The challenge to local government is just simple. They are not well funded and there is corruption. So fund local government better, ensure accountability for the money you're giving local government, and there will be effective representation at the local government level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Amos Musinguzi, International Health Sciences University. I have loved today's presentation, but my view as a youth, which is the largest population in Uganda, is we have to do the SWOT analysis. Let's analyze the current and past situation, come up with the better options, and please, let's work together to be part of the solution, as the Z generation says. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. By the names of Abakar Muhammad. I'm from the Islamic University in Uganda. I have two issues for the current speaker. You have not showed how the qualitative versus the quantitative. You are talking about hunger, but how does hunger affect the representation of the people in the parliament? You are talking about the 5 million, but you have to talk about the service delivery, the money that's spent on politics, and the money that's spent on other sectors. Can you compare it? That's the main issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Busobozi Henry Wycliffe, Makerere University. Unfortunately, the previous speaker has expounded almost exactly what I wanted to say, but I'll use the opportunity to say what...
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and all the honorable members who have uttered out all those wonderful opinions. As I continue, still again, would like to inform you that we don't have any quality representation in the absence of free and fair election. For example, if you can check the infrastructure, are poor, like roads, schools, hospitals, because most of the money which is supposed to finance all these sectors is spent in bribing in bribing voters. Like, for example, as always.
Are the youth voters? Are the youth voters?
The youth, yes.
And they bribe voters?
Therefore, the youth eat bribes not to deliver their own issues. True?
I'm sorry, I would like to rectify my point.
No. I just want to be clear. So the youth seated in this room take bribes to make sure that their issues are not delivered on the table. Right?
Honestly, some. However much I may not prove it.
Therefore, they are part of the conspiracy for their issues not to be represented. The youth.
No.
Carry on.
As I wanted to give an example, in the last election in 2016, the NRM government gave each village 250,000 to be shared equally among the locals when they are going to vote, meaning that is bribing voters instead of at least injecting this money.
50,000 given to a village change the direction of an election there. You think?
Automatically, because you see, most of the people in the villages are educated and are poor.
How many people do you expect at a village? Let's put it at 250.
Every village.
How much would everyone get?
Some people used to share 200, 100. So,
200 shillings, people in this country would change the direction of their vote?
Surely I would like to inform. Surely I would like to inform you that for me, I come from the village, so I know how people behave. People say that even if you give me 100 for a cigarette, I have to vote you because the other person has given me nothing. So,
you're telling me that Ugandans change their vote for 100 shillings, 200 shillings?
Some.
Thank you.
As I'm almost concluding, again, I would like to say that we are youth, we are not ably represented in today's government structures. For example, youth, we have been denied, as I conclude, in order to fight against this highest degree of impunity, nepotism, dictatorship, nepotism, and leaders for life, let us all Ugandans join hands together such that we transform our country into a swagarific country. Thank you very much.
Right, we are coming close to opening up for the rest of you. I'm very worried because I've got an affirmative from the speaker here and you that you're worth 200 shillings. That some are actually worth only 100. And you sell your vote for 100 shillings. And after that, you demand for accountability from the people that have bought you for 100 shillings. If you sold for 100 shillings, go home and sleep. I shall ask, as I ask the final of the panelists to come forward, Azabo Kasim from Mutesa One Royal University. Among us here, by just show of hands, how many of us voted at the last election? Did you? Okay, I won't ask which way you voted. How many of you have your national IDs? Some people said they voted and they are putting up no hands for national ID. Is it possible that you voted without a national ID? Yes. Is it? Yes. How many of you own a national ID here? Interesting.
Thank you very much. Protocol observed. By name's Azabo Mahadi Kasim, student from Mutesa, the first Royal University in this country, pursuing the most hated course, that is education, in this country. In front here, I'm going to discuss our tonight's important debate in this August House concerning the viewpoints on the areas that have been given qualitative versus quantitative representation of the people which were Uganda. Issues which have been discussed here, people take them in a joking way. But these are issues which are so touching the citizens. I'm inclusive. Outside there, you are hearing and you are listening, you are viewing us. These are issues which are very touchy. It calls attention of all Ugandans to handle this. In this inter-university debate, live on NTV, I have been required by the Center for Constitutional Governance, CCG, to answer the 3 fundamental questions in our governance system. Are the youth ably represented in our governance structures? In the absence of free and fair elections, do we have true people's representation? Do we have value for money for the cost of democracy in Uganda? Dear audience, you see, as being the last speaker, I'm not supposed to speak off. I need to read the fact. I'm going to go through my presentation that I've organized. Dear audience, if you have been a citizen here in Uganda for the last 20 years or more, you already have the answers to these perturbing questions, which I believe do not differ from mine. However, before I have my take on these conflicting questions, I would like to show an overview of Uganda's problems associated with the democracy. Primarily, there is a
NTV, turning on your world.
This is Mad Rat and Chico. You're watching the Bar Town NTV straight away.
They have made a mark as the first ever comedy duo in Uganda. Mad Rat and Chico are gravitated their inspiration.
We saw these comedians, the first comedians, but tutaba jaja bafenga ba moti bani. Twala bata tolo wechibulamu. Netwaka tushayo class and alobosegera. Wa comedy ulyada yanga kwambala busikati kola bichikwe seka powder. Nevenga tuba matuine chigambo. We can make people laugh. Ngatwogede bogezi.